Good afternoon. It is just before 5 p.m. on Friday the 26th of February 2021. My name is Arran Hunt. I'm a partner here at Stace Hammond and I head up the Migration Partners team. As always, this is not legal advice, it is just our commentary on immigration here in New Zealand. If you're looking for legal advice, then please get in contact with us. Best place to do it is by emailing us as visa@shlaw.co.nz, and one of our staff will try to respond as soon as they can. It is a relatively busy number of inquiries, so they'll take a day or two to get back to you. I am actually spending a couple of days away from tomorrow till Monday, so I'll be out of the office for a couple of days, but they'll do their best on Monday to respond. If not, I'm back here in the office on Tuesday. Now, there isn't a lot to cover today. It's been a relatively quiet week when it comes to changes with immigration in New Zealand. We haven't seen many changes, but there has been a lot of media interest and a few interesting stories, so we're going to sort of just cover those today. Now, the first thing, of course, is partners of critical health workers. This is a topic that we've been doing a lot of work on and done a lot of videos about this in the past and mentioned it a number of times. The partners of critical health workers. Now, this could be the partners of New Zealand citizens, the partners of residents, partners of worker visa holders. They are all sort of caught by this, what they're calling it, an anomaly. The media is calling it, and the Prime Minister is calling it that as well. Now, we've gained some traction in the past few days around this with the enormous help of Tova O'Brien from News Hub TV3. And we've now made the Prime Minister aware of the issue with that health care workers are being forced out of the country to bring their partners in. And again, that is healthcare workers that could be citizens as well as those who are here on work visas. It does not matter who they are. They're being forced out of the country to bring their partners in. Now, I was actually interviewed by News Hub here in the office earlier this week, and I appeared in the 6 p.m. news on Wednesday. I'll provide a link to that article. There is a video online. I haven't actually seen it myself. I hate watching myself on video. But you better see me in that video, and there's been further articles since then, another one on the 6 p.m. news on Thursday night, fantastic piece of them by there, and more coverage today in the press. Now, the issue we have is that the Ministry of Immigration refuses to look at intervention on these applications, despite the fact that we've made him aware of these rules for a number of months. How it works is that you can go to the Minister at any point and say, Mr. Minister, we have an issue here, can you please look at it? And the Minister has the right to grant visas if he so chooses, even if they sort of don't fall within the rules. And at times we've had situations where we think it's unfair on the applicant. We've gone to the Minister, and quite often I will give the Minister their due. They've often come back saying, yes, that is a bad situation, let's try and fix it. However, here, the response we received, as we saw in the media, was that he almost didn't seem aware of the issue. Now, we've gone to the Minister with several of these applications for doctors wanting to bring their partners in, and so he is aware of the issue, and it has just basically been down to it's a border exception issue. We're not going to look at it, which we don't think is good enough. So at the same time, the Minister is not getting involved with these critical health workers, the partners' applications. The Minister is getting involved in allowing in entertainers, celebrities, the partners of America's Cup sailors, and even the nanny of a Hollywood star. Now, in the interview, I did actually, I made this quote, and that yes, health workers are not entertaining, they're not celebrities, they're not making us laugh, but they are here to help to cure us, to keep us alive, and that's what we believe here. That we seem to be giving too much priority to celebrities at times. The Minister will get involved in those situations, but he won't get involved when it comes down to the partners of critical health workers, when the only other option is to leave the country to bring the partner in. And we don't want to see doctors and nurses leaving the country, or any other critical health workers. We want them staying here in the country. Now, as I said, the Minister did act surprised that this was an issue, but frankly, it seems that he doesn't really care about the issue, or about the hard work and risk that these critical health workers have put themselves through during the pandemic. We have previously defended him and his ministry for they've been doing some great work in the past, but it's now kind of hard to defend it when he claims that he wasn't aware of the issue, despite it being an issue since June 2020. Now, June 2020 is when they brought in their allowance for critical health workers to bring their partners in, which was great for those arriving from that point onwards, but those who already were in the country they couldn't bring their partner in, and they still can't. And that's the issue, and it's been an issue for, 9 months now. Actually longer than that. So we're aware this is now in front of the Prime Minister. We're aware of that. She was questioned by, I think it was by Tova O'Brien in a press conference, or one of Tova's colleagues. And she seemed genuinely shocked in the video that this could possibly be an issue. She has praised the critical health workers, as she should, throughout the pandemic. And I do believe that she was not aware of this being a problem. And we do know that that she now has advice in front of her about some matters, including some of our clients, so that she is aware of the situation. And also, we've also advised several other senior government staff members on the situation. So they are aware of this situation. We've been pushing hard to get in front of them, and hopefully now we can get some more support to making a change to bring partners of critical health workers in. So hopefully we get some traction now where at least something's happening, which is more than we had last week. Now, next thing is work visa extensions. Of course, these were announced earlier this year. They're going to provide a work visa extension to those people who had a work visa expiring within a certain period. These were work visas where you had a named employer on the visa itself. They weren't open for open visas, just for those who have a named employer, and of course those who are in New Zealand, not outside the country. Now, earlier today we did receive emails for some of our clients to confirm that visa extension had been given, that 6-month extension, pushing our clients out to months later, August, September, that sort of thing, later in the year. Now, if you were expecting an extension, but you haven't received an email, then it's best to check with Immigration New Zealand. They should have gone out today. We've received a few of them today. We haven't received, well, that was earlier today, they came through. We don't know whether they've all gone out yet, whether they're still sort of going out in batches. We did seem to have them all come together at once, less for us, but that could just be a chance thing. If you are expecting one yourself and you haven't received it, then best to get onto immigration to get that checked, or come see us and we'll see if we can help you out there. Now, if you are one of our clients, you will have received confirmation from us today. I think I still have one more to go out, but they generally all gone out. Probably actually would have gone out by the time you watch this video. We would have sent them all out to our clients just to confirm the extension has been put into place. And of course, that means if you were applying for a residence visa or looking to apply for another work visa, then you can now make that application, because the system will now accept that you do have time in advance. As of yesterday, you couldn't do that because the system wasn't aware that you're going to have this extension coming through. Now, next we wanted to look at CAP, and thanks you for those who did come to us regarding their CAP declines that they've had. What it looks like is that some applicants have used an unlicensed agent to assist them with their applications, and then sorry, someone's banging in the roof upstairs, and we're in a multi-storey building here, and they're hammering away. Now, so what it looks like is that they've used an agent to help them out, and the immigration has called the applicant up and said, hey, have you used an advisor for this? And the applicant has said, no, I haven't. And immigration has said, well, we kind of know you have, and they've declined the visa for misleading immigration. Now, Immigration New Zealand do not like being misled. It is one of the key rules: be honest with immigration. First thing, because it is very much the New Zealand way. We're a country based around, no corruption, being honest, and things just working the right way. And the rules being stuck to. The second reason, of course, is that Immigration New Zealand don't like being lied to, because if you lie to them, they ain't going to trust you going forward. It is a very difficult thing to solve once you've got that little thing on your document saying lied to immigration. Now, we do believe that Immigration New Zealand may be a little hard here. A lot of applicants who are applying for a visa for the first time probably aren't aware that you cannot use an unlicensed agent to help with that, and that you really can't use anyone to help with that. You can sort of talk with your friends in the online forums, but it's actually sort of direct advice on an application, or helping you fill out the application and doing it. Most of the time, well, generally it should be only certain people that can do that. If you did go to an agent who was unlicensed, then that should be an issue. To tell the truth, if you go to somebody who help you out and they fill out the form, but they don't put their name on the form in that "have you been assisted" section, then don't submit it, because that's going to cause you an issue if immigration find out. Now, so we've had people who have admitted to us that they have done that, they have used an unlicensed agent. We have others who have come to us and that they have used a credit card for a friend or relation, and it appears that, and from that they've been accused of using an agent because they've used somebody else's credit card. Now, we can't see Immigration New Zealand having much evidence beyond the name on that card not matching the applicant. That seems to be the only evidence that, at least from their letters, that they seem to have. However, we also know that in the past there has been some immigration agents in India who have been caught out because they've provided the same financial documents to more than one applicant. We had the 800 applicants who are actually visa holders who had their visas cancelled while they were in New Zealand studying because it was found that they had actually used the same documentation. And I spoke with several of those at the time, and they knew that they were using documents that weren't completely legit, but they had been advised by their agent, this is fine, this is how it's done. And in New Zealand, the least corrupt country in the world, this is not how it's done. We want you to be honest with your application. So I think Immigration New Zealand here is being cautious. There's likely some people who have come to us who, and I think there is, who have actually not used an agent. And they have been caught out by this. There's also some who have probably used an agent and just won't admit it. And I think the fact that you have those who've used agents, whether they admit it or not, they're sort of causing an issue for all the rest. So there's definitely some here where perhaps immigrations are being overly hard when where others where they're probably correct in declining the application because they were not genuine. Now the question is what to do next. So the most obvious answer here is to apply for another visa and hope that you get it. The other option is you can file a complaint to Immigration New Zealand. If it really is a relation that paid you for an application, then you need to prove it. You need to provide birth certificates, statutory declarations, passports, things that link to show here's myself, here's my brother, my sister, my cousin, here are our parents, here are the birth certificates, here's linking together our passports, and really showing that there was no agent involved. It really was just your brother or your cousin or your sister or your mother or your aunt who you used their credit card because you haven't got one. That won't be a guaranteed fix though. But if we were sort of applying for a visa for a client, and this is a general rule as well, we know that there is going to be an issue there. There's an issue in their past, the previous application. We will go into that application knowing there is an issue there and being honest about it and trying to cover it. Because if you apply for a visa, they're going to go, okay, they've applied before, that was declined, or why was it declined? And if you haven't covered that previous decline in your application, then they're going to think you're trying to hide it or you're not. You're not using the opportunity at that point to be honest with them and to fix any issue or error that may have taken place. If there was a misunderstanding, then that's the point you want to fix it. You want to let them know there's a misunderstanding on a previous application, it was declined, here's the reason why it was declined. So our approach is not to try and hide things, but to get out in front of them. And that seems to give us the best results, we think, for our clients. If we went to do an application and there was a previous decline and we sort of didn't mention it, you can be pretty certain they're going to come back and ask us why was this declined and why didn't you mention it? Why are you trying to hide this previous issue? If there's a decline, you have to, of course, declare a decline in the application. There's a box ticked to say yes, I had been declined previously. So they know it. They have your system in front of them. They know your file. So yeah, be honest, front up, fix the issue, get on top of it. The real moral of the story here is, and please, if you are outside New Zealand, then spread this around to everyone you talk to when they're doing immigration. Do not use unlicensed agents or advisors. There are only certain type of people who can actually assist you with an application to Immigration New Zealand, and those are basically mainly New Zealand lawyers and New Zealand licensed immigration advisors, with a few other MPs, government people like that. But generally, those are the two things you're going to deal with: New Zealand lawyers and New Zealand licensed immigration advisors. Now, lawyers appear on the Law Society register. We'll link to that in the description below, so you can do a search. You can search me up and you can see my name on there. And advisors appear on the Licensed Immigration Advisor Authority register. Again, you can go there, search for them and check that they are on there. If you have someone who's going to assist you, go to either of those. Say to them, are you a lawyer? Are you an advisor? If they say we're neither, then find someone else. If they say that I'm a lawyer or I'm an advisor, go and check them on that system. Confirm that they are. And as I said, when the application is submitted, make sure they're listed in that box. If you are seeking advice, make sure that they're registered, they're allowed to do it, or they're a lawyer. If you're outside New Zealand, you can still use a lawyer or an advisor who is in New Zealand. You don't need to have someone who is local to you. These things are done electronically. A lot of my clients I have never met. I've never had a need to. They are all over the world, but we get things done because it's all electronic these days. So try to stay safe that way. It is the quickest, easiest way to end your application is by using someone who's not allowed to assist you. And finally, there's been a few pieces in the media in the past few days on top of the relationship to critical health workers. And both of these new articles are around the Ministry of Immigration again. A couple of days ago there was a mention of that there was a need to review the skilled migrant visa system. Now, this was reviewed last year. We're still waiting for the policy changes for that review to be released. We're expecting those last year. They haven't come through yet. We're still waiting. We're wondering whether they're going to come through before they open up the skilled migrant draws again. We actually think that this could just be sort of a delaying tactic. They haven't actually done much, or they're sort of using the fact they want to review it as a reason to delay opening it again in April. So the announcement of the review is really, we can't see it actually being different than what it was before. They've already done a review. Today there was talk about the changes post-border, and this is an interesting one because there's a lot of discussion. We get a lot of questions saying when they open the border and can I apply, or how's it going to work. Now, as to how the border is going to open, that's still in discussion. We think it's going to be a staggered opening. We don't think it's going to be sort of on this day it's open, everyone can come in. We think it is going to be country by country, or at least some sort of staged opening, a little bit at a time going forward. Now, the Minister talked about the need to prepare New Zealand for the situation to ensure that we have the right skilled workers, the right resources, that sort of thing. He talked about upskilling New Zealanders to sort of fill in that gap. Now, we hear that from every government that comes through, the need to upskill New Zealanders, to train New Zealanders to fill in the gaps that we need, and then we go and hire a lot of migrants because New Zealanders just can't fill in the gaps because there's too many gaps, and New Zealanders don't want to fill some of the gaps, or it's not a cool enough job for them, or it's whatever reason, it just doesn't work. So again, this seems to be talk. If we see it from every government, both from National and from Labour and every other government, the need to train up New Zealanders, and it never actually works, at least not to the degree where migrants aren't required. He also mentioned, quite funnily, the need to ensure that there are hospitals in the right places, which, as I said, is ironic because he won't consider helping out the staff to be in those hospitals. So anyway, that's all we have for today. As I said, it's not a big news week for immigration. There has been no movement on any other visa type, so if you're going to ask me, I can tell you that now. There is no change to any visa type out there this week. Just some news as to a push to get some of these visa types changed. But we know we are getting some traction in some of those areas, so that is good. As always, please like this video if you found it at all helpful. Please subscribe just to ensure that you don't miss out on any news in the future when we do hopefully have some actual visa change news, rather than just sort of the roundup we had today. And that is all. That is all we have today. So, ka kite anō, kia kaha, stay safe.